We're delighted to be here. I'm doubly delighted because it's kind of my second home, Barnsley. My mum was born here. My granddad lives just up the road in Ardsley. I spent many happy weekends in Barnsley as a kid, and it's great to come back and be doing this. We're doing a series of roadshows across the UK for small businesses, typically in connection with Chambers of Commerce. This is an extra as a favour for Dan. When we met him a few months ago, he mentioned the event and we thought it was fantastic, and a ready-made opportunity to come along and explain our story for how small businesses can use Facebook to grow. You can put your pens down. You do not have to write anything. When you leave this session, we've got a goodie bag for you which includes a USB, and on that USB is a toolkit that we've developed with Enterprise Nation, which gives you all the tips you'll ever need about using Facebook to help grow your business. So you can just sit back, relax, hopefully enjoy the presentation and all the tips we're going to give you. And then, as I say, things you're not sure about, you may be able to ask us in the Q&A, and if we can't help or if we run out of time, there's lots of information in that toolkit. Plus, of course, there's lots of information on Facebook itself, and we'll explain a bit more about that. So I'm going to talk about the many features of Facebook which are available for free for small businesses. And there is an enormous amount you can do without spending any money on Facebook, as per what Herb was saying earlier. And then Rosalie is going to come along and talk about some of our advertising product and how you can use our highly targeted advertising to extend the reach of your presence on Facebook and grow your business. Actually, both well know, how many people here have already got a page on Facebook for their business? So quite a few. Okay, so I'll probably skip over some of the early stuff quite a bit in order to get to the meaty stuff in terms of how things work. But this is a typical Facebook page. Hopefully you recognize that. Just to give you a bit of a sense of the scale of Facebook, our latest reported figures, there are over 900 million people who are using Facebook actively each month. And just under half of them, and again to echo something that Herb was saying earlier, are using Facebook on their mobile device. And that's an incredibly important part of Facebook. Facebook strategy is making sure we work well on a mobile. In the UK itself, around half the total population are using Facebook on a monthly basis, and half of those are returning every day. So a quarter of the population are using Facebook every single day to connect with their friends. They're not only connecting with friends though, they're often connecting with businesses. And these are just three examples of UK small businesses that have grown significantly by using Facebook. They're all very different. So Tropical Sky is a travel company specializing in, as you can see there, in really quite niche type of product, but using Facebook to grow that. I just realized let's just try and get rid of that. Okay, fine, we've got rid of that on the screen. The English Cheesecake Company is what you'd expect. I think the particularly interesting one is Sarah Photography. She's used Facebook by using some really emotive photography from weddings that she's been a photographer for to engage people in what she can do and the innovative approach she takes to photography. As you can see, 95% of her new customers have come from the word of mouth of Facebook. She's not actually used any advertising yet. It's all to do with our free products that she's been able to engage with a new audience. So let me explain how you can get success for your business on Facebook. Well, everything comes from your page. This is the core, and for those of you who haven't yet done this, it's important that you build your presence by building your page. First of all, you need to search for your business on Facebook. It's quite likely your business already exists, particularly if it has a physical presence that people come into, whether it's a cafe or a shop. You need to find it on Facebook. There's a good chance somebody's already created that, a presence for you, and you need to claim it. And the way you do this is if you click on the right-hand side, you'll see a list of options, including, is this your business? If you click on that, you'll then be taken through this verification process. So obviously, since many of you already got a page, I'll quickly step through this. But on the verification page, you'll be asked to explain what your business is. In this case, it's Urban Coffee, and provide us some details around that. And then you'll be taken to a page where you click on this button in which you create a page. You'll go through and you'll see there are various options about the kind of page you can have on Facebook, and obviously yours is a small business, and therefore you go to this box on the left-hand side and then be asked to provide some details about your business, what kind of business it is, where you are. And then the key thing is about providing some personality around your business. So what type of, you need to provide a picture. So provide a profile picture which really captures the essence of your business. So don't have something esoteric like a landscape, unless you're a landscape photographer, I guess, but something that is going to be associated with your business every time it appears on Facebook. So it's got to be something that people will remember and associate with you. And then you're going to follow this flow about, in terms of providing more information about your business, telling us about it, coming up with a kind of pithy phrase that encaptures what you do, and then providing your address. And this is the URL that will be associated with your page. So obviously choose something where people will be able to find you using our search function, and also something that people will easily be able to remember. And then it's important that you connect this online presence on Facebook with the offline world. So, and the reason you're doing this is in order to try and drive traffic to your page. So it helps when your business is top of mind that people can see, oh, actually, I can like you on Facebook, I can find you on Facebook. So tell your customers in store about the page. You'll often see this now in terms of when you visit a store or a restaurant, you'll see that they are encouraging to like their page on Facebook. Again, that's all about driving traffic to the page, and you need to let them know about it, particularly when you're starting off. The key thing here is you're trying to build a fan base for your page. Invite your friends and your family and your customers. So I often find when I'm in places now, people will say to me, well, like us on Facebook. And so making that part of your conversation with your customers in terms of your physical encounters with them is very important. And obviously put it on your business card, anything else you're doing by way of material that's in your premises. Make sure you connect these things up in order to drive people to your page. And as we say, everything starts with the page. This is the most important thing for your business and getting this right. And there are lots of different features on this page, which I'm going to take you through in terms of how you make sure you use it. This is how you express your identity on Facebook. Just as I, as an individual, using the different features of my timeline, express my personality. That's exactly the same for your company, and you need to use it in a really proactive way. So this is an example of a bakery. We do seem to feature bakeries quite a lot in this presentation. I guess maybe it's just because we normally do them in the mornings, and that idea of coffee and cakes really appeals to us. This is a bakery in Edinburgh, and you can see that they've used some really important features in order to express the identity of their company. From the profile photos, so the cuckoos in the cuckoo clock are actually cakes, to the lovely picture of those wonderful cupcakes, which is making me salivate. And then also putting key information right at the top there that people will always see about where the business is, when it's open, what its phone number is, and some key things about it, including how many people are liking their page. It's then really important to engage your fans using the page. And the key thing here is the composer. So this is where you're going to be posting new content on the page using the composer. And it's important you post regularly. I'll come on to explain. We reckon at least once a week you need to be putting something new onto your page. Don't just leave it up there as a static thing. People will find it very uninteresting if it's not changing. Okay, so you need to provide them with new information. You'll see here that you can see how many friends you've got and how they are engaging with your page. So really useful for you, particularly as you're growing your presence, to see that. Customers can directly message you. That can be a really useful way of keeping in touch with your customers. And rather than taking them away from the page to online or telephony, they can message you directly because you are when you're adminning the page, you're on Facebook as that business. Okay, so they can message you directly rather than you as your personal basis. You can also pin things. So yes, you're providing regular updates, but there may be some things that you want to ensure that people will see when they come to your page for a whole week, say. So you can decide you want to pin something really important, whether it's about a new product or an event you've got coming up, and you can say pin that for 7 days, so you know that every time somebody comes to your page, that will be the thing that they see. And you can really engage your fans. So you can now use this feature for these very large photos to really express it. So if something really significant happens for your business, you can use this feature to really engage your fans in the product. It's also important to use milestones. So things that are important for your business, your fans will also care about. So they'll care about perhaps when you reach your first 50 fans for the page, or your first 100 fans, or that you've had your first year of trading, or whatever it is, or your first year on Facebook. So make sure you mark those milestones. It's the kind of thing that people will be interested in. So once you've started telling people about your page and you've been connecting with customers, it's then important to have a real conversation with them. I'm going to go over a few tips now on how to do that. Stay relevant for your customers. So this kind of post is a waste of time, frankly. Telling your customers it's a sunny day, well, they know that, right? But actually this is completely irrelevant to your business. So it's a kind of so what type of post, and it's not the kind of thing that people are going to find at all exciting. So keep it fresh, use photos. Perhaps if instead of this, if you're running a business which has got some outside space, you could have said, it's a sunny day, come down and enjoy our new range of muffins on the terrace. We've got plenty of space at 11 o'clock. Just a way of encouraging people to engage with your business in a way which is going to be meaningful for them. Keep it fresh and use photos. And use things like this. So use our polling to try and get some feedback. Get engagement. Getting fans talking with each other about your business can be a really good way of deepening the sense of engagement. Post at least once a week. And make sure things are timely. So think, again, I'm sure you do this as a business, putting yourselves in the shoes of the customers. What would be good for them to know about what you are doing right now? You can then also use our Insights tool to find out what's working. So as well as hopefully remembering what I've said, but more importantly looking at the toolkit and saying, okay, I'll give that a try, you can then figure out, well, what's actually working in terms of our customers. What are they engaging with? What kind of, this is very hard to see in the screen, what kind of people are engaging with my page? Where do they live? How old are they? What gender are they? You can see what kind of, how people are talking about your business, and you can see how that relates to different activity you're putting onto the page. You can also learn what content they're finding most interesting. So for instance, if you try polling for the first time, again, okay, let's use bakery for want of another example. If you say, look, we're thinking about bringing in a new style of cake, here are our 5 options, which would you prefer? If you then go ahead and bake the one that has come top of the poll, there's a pretty good chance, you'd hope, that people will come in and engage more with the product. Well, you'll be able to tell from this as well. You'll be able to tell whether that kind of polling is making people engage more with your product. So once you're familiar with all these features, in terms of engaging with your fans and getting them to be kind of talking about what you're doing, it's then you can move on to think about using some of our paid products. So everything I've showed you so far is all for free. We provide all those features are available in the Facebook without you spending any money. Rose is now going to talk about how you can use some of our paid for products in order to extend the reach of your business to friends of friends and beyond. Rosa.
Thanks, Simon. So as Simon mentioned, I'm going to quickly talk through some of our paid products. As he mentioned earlier, there's over 900 million users on Facebook. So once you develop your page and you're posting regular and engaging content on there, you can start to think about spending some money on Facebook and using our page ads and sponsored stories to allow you to increase this reach by about 3 to 4 times by reaching out to the friends of the fans that are already connected to your page. So you can use our paid products to connect with your existing customers or also reach out to new customers as well. So here's some examples of advertising offers to try and get people to like the page. You can also create multiple like ads just to test to see what works. So you can run them all continuously at the same time, and it's really easy to pause or cancel ads that aren't performing as well. And you get some really great insights onto how your ads are running. So it's worth just keeping an eye on that and checking which ones are working best. And the great thing about Facebook advertising is the targeting that is available to you, especially as small businesses. So you can really make sure that the money you're spending is going to the people that you want it to go to. So have a play around on our targeting tools. You can even test run an advert without actually paying for it. It's quite fun to have a look at the kind of different targeting options that you have. So here I can see that my friend Annalisa likes the page Morph Suits. Which I find a bit creepy, but do check their page out because it's a really good page. We always mention it, but the product itself I find a bit strange. So what happens if I'm not online when Annalisa actually likes the page Morph Suits? Morph Suits can pay to have this page this story amplified, and this is how it shows on my home screen on the right-hand side. So I can see this social activity that my friend is liking this page. So as we mentioned earlier, the true power of Facebook for businesses is the ability to reach and influence the friends of your fans, not just the fans yourselves. So think about how many friends you personally have on Facebook, and now multiply that by 100, and that's how many people you could reach as a business with just 100 fans on your page by using the advertising products that we have. The page like sponsor story and page like ads are highly engaging because we care about what our friends are doing and what they enjoy. So here we can see that my friend Francesca and Sarah had like United Colours of Benetton, and I'm much more likely to click on this page because I care about what they're interested in. And we all know that word of mouth marketing is one of the most powerful marketing forms available, and what Facebook offers is word of mouth marketing at scale. And yeah, sorry. So why use this? Why run a sponsor story or use advertising on Facebook? What does this actually mean? Nielsen and Comscore have done some really interesting studies to see the impacts that this is having. So we can see that there's a 2 times increase in engagement when users are shown an advertisement with their friend's name in it. And they're also 60 to 8% more likely to remember an ad when it's got a friend's name in it. And beyond that, which is really interesting, they're 4 times more likely to purchase something after seeing an ad with their friend's name associated with it. So just to recap, we've talked about the page. So you need to build your page and post engaging content and engage your fans to build a loyalty and loyal fan base. And then you can think about connecting with fans and then their friends as well through using the advertising products. I just wanted to quickly talk about a really exciting program that we announced a couple of weeks ago. It's our Small Business Boost, where we're offering up to £80 of advertising credits for small businesses in the UK. And it's really just for you guys to test the advertising product and hopefully to see how well it works for you. So this is the key page that you need to like to stay up to date and find out how to enter this promotion. There's an app on there so you can just enter directly from there. And the page is also in your pack as well, so you don't need to scribble it down now. And as Simon mentioned, we're really excited about this toolkit that we've developed with Enterprise Nation. It's a really deep dive into how you can make the most out of Facebook, both on pages and adverts, and it also goes slightly more advanced into building applications if you'd like to give that a go as well. We're going to open up to Q&A in a minute, but just before, while you're thinking of some questions for us, I just wanted to talk quickly about a couple of new products that we've announced recently. First is the Pages Manager app for only, unfortunately, for iPhones and iPads at the moment, which is unfortunately because I also have an Android. But hopefully it'll be on Android soon. But this really allows you to manage your pages on the go a lot easier, a lot easily. And you can see insights better than on our previous app and just the regular app that you might be using as a regular Facebook user. So do check that out and download it. We've also announced recently the Promoted Post, which is a great way of advertising a particular offer or a particular post that you might want to just promote to your fans and friends of fans. And this is really easy to do, and you can spend quite small amounts of money on this particular product. So you'll start to see that appearing. We are rolling it out quite slowly, but hopefully you'll start to see it appearing on your page soon. And it just appears once you've done the update, it'll appear underneath. And again, you get some great insights from that, so you can see what works and what doesn't. So I hope that's been useful. We're going to open up to Q&A now, and Sam's going to join me back.
Yeah, a very quick question. Thank you very much. We ran through it on the basis that lots of people here have already got pages, and we thought it was a pretty good chance that actually the main usefulness of the session may well be in the Q&A. So hopefully we were right, and there are plenty of questions for us. So yes, I think there's a mic coming.
Hi, I've got a group page as opposed to a page where you have to rely on people to like. Are there disadvantages to doing that as opposed to creating a business page where people have to like it? Because the group page, you can physically add people whether they like it or not. Is there limited facilities on that as opposed to the other one?
Okay. Should we just see what other questions we've got? Maybe take three at once. So we've got that one. Any other questions? Yeah,
I'm an admin on our work's Facebook page, and when I do it on my personal phone, which is a BlackBerry, and I try and reply to someone's comment on my phone, it comes up as, Barnsley Hospice. But when I want to add something new from my phone, even though I'm an admin, it comes up as me personally, and I don't know what I've done, and I don't know if it's BlackBerry related. And
all right. Should we take one more? Then we'll do a couple of questions there. Are there any actually in the same area? Okay, we'll do it there.
Hiya, for pure play businesses, obviously those businesses on the internet, isn't your Facebook business page penalising them business? Because on your profile page you cannot put your call to action, be it your phone number or your domain name. Why have you done that?
Okay. All right. Thank you very much.
And second question, was in terms of meaningful split testing, you mentioned about changing your images to check which one gets a greater open rates, etc. In email, for anything significant, you would need at least a mailing sample size of 5,000 to 10,000 to make any meaningful measures. What would Facebook's testing for changing of ads to see which worked better?
Well, I'll think you're going to do the groups one and the profile.
Yeah. I do realise it can be confusing, the different products that we have. So the groups product was slightly different, perhaps when you set up your group at, I don't know how old it is. And we recently changed our groups product because we realised that people were using it interchangeably with the pages product. And groups now are designed for much smaller, slightly more intimate groups, so a maximum of 250 people. So I would recommend that you try and shift that over to a page because you will have a lot more functionality. And the other thing to note is that we're really focused on pages as the key product for businesses, so we're going to continue to build great products for that in the future. So whereas for groups we possibly won't. So even though it might be working for you now, there's hopefully a lot of great products that you can make the most of on pages. So what you just need to do is, if you set up a page like Simon showed you, and then just encourage those people in your group to like the page, and hopefully you can get started on that. I hope that answered your question.
Thank you.
So I take this one first and we'll come back to the issue about profiles.
I can do that. The mobile one.
Okay. On the issue of kind of why can't you put whatever you like in the photos? I mean, this is really about the look and feel of. Actually, can you all hear me? Okay, I'm on by the mic. Yeah. This is really about the look and feel of Facebook generally, and it's certainly not because we're kind of anti-business, but we do have some kind of, ethics about how we want Facebook to look and feel. And those cover photos are very much about expressing yourself, either as an individual, as the 900 million users everybody eventually will be on timeline to be able to do that. And I think it's the same for business. Within Facebook, there are lots of opportunities for businesses to provide their URLs and their contact details. But this is much more about the look and feel of Facebook generally, that we have some rules about what you can and can't do in terms of those cover photos. And then your question about kind of the quality of the stats and how that compares with other kinds of marketing stats. It's a good question, not one I've come across before. I guess the thing we'd say is, look, the thing with I guess the difference between perhaps email traffic and other kinds of marketing, you know that the people you're communicating with on your page are people who have liked the page. And therefore they are people who are already, to some extent, fans of your business. And therefore knowing what people who already have a connection with your business, whether there's 400 of them, 40 of them, or 400,000, the fact that you can get data that shows, well, actually that post that you just did, or you did 3 days ago, had this kind of impact, even if it's 10% difference, it will give you a sense of, well, actually, maybe I need to be doing more of that kind of stuff. So it's insights about what kind of activity works well in terms of engagement. I would imagine that there's every reason to expect that in some ways it doesn't really matter how many fans you've got, those insights are still useful. And after all, those are insights that you're not paying for. It's all part of the service that comes with running a page. Let's talk about the mobile.
Yeah, it's unfortunately that's the BlackBerry app. It's not quite as kind of advanced as an application on iPhone. I don't have a date of when we're going to build that out, unfortunately. So I'm sorry. I realise that must be. You can try using it on your on the browser on your BlackBerry though. That does work.
Okay. Any questions? I think we had another third. I don't think Jack actually as well. So
When somebody said they like you on Facebook, is that data your own, or is that public data, publicly accessible data? Because it's effectively now like a database for customers.
Yeah. So obviously, in my presentation, you heard quite a bit about how we've built up a following on Twitter and use that a lot. So once you've done, and we've got a page, and we post to it regularly, and we're trying to build up more of a conversation there. Is there something we should be doing beyond? One of the things I have noticed that you guys now have a paid-for promotion thing off your page, where you can have individual posts promoted. That's one. Okay. All right. Cool. Yeah. So I was just wondering, is beyond that in terms of, are there things that people should be doing beyond just that, or is it just simply then investing the time to build out the others? Is there are there ways that you guys recommend for trying to, if you will, ramp that up?
Thank you. Have we got another question? Another batch of three? Yeah.
Hi there. My question's related to the e-commerce cupcake company. I just wanted to know really if you knew what technologies have been involved in that to make that happen.
Do you mean the shop?
Yes, yeah.
I can answer that generally.
So just to pick up this issue about how is that information content? Well, obviously if you've got a page, you know who's liked you. Okay. You may not be able to tell much more about them other than this person has liked you. In terms of, and obviously in terms of the brands that I've liked, my friends can see that. But it will depend entirely on how I've got my Facebook account set up in terms of who else can see it. And that's all about kind of the privacy controls that we provide and the ability of users to control who sees what of their data. So the one thing I will say is that if your business is targeted at teenagers on Facebook, so those aged 13 to 17, have different privacy settings by default. So they are not searchable in public searches in the way that all adults are. Okay, so that could be different, but in general, it all depends on what the users decide to do in terms of their the way they set up their accounts. On the issue of what else can people be doing, perhaps Rosie would just talk about applications. That's certainly something we cover extensively in the toolkit.
I guess beyond applications, obviously you've got other online digital assets, and I think. And I hope it came across in the presentation that we're not saying everything should be on Facebook, but just try and combine it with your other online presence. And there's a really excellent site if you feel like you want to look at it, you've done all this and you want to go further, called developers.facebook.com. And this is where there's all the information about our social plugins. So you might have seen the like button or the send button. And there's a whole host of social plugins which are really easy to implement onto your website. And our engineers and our platform team at Facebook have a saying called social by design. And that really means thinking about the kind of journey that your users will be going through on your actual website. So thinking about where are the actions that they'll be taking on your website anyway that are social and that they can be sharing it. So really think about the journey and adding any social layer and making it easy as possible for people to share. So if somebody has bought a ticket to your event, is there a share button so they can tell their friends that they're coming to the event? Can they invite their friends as well? And these are all available on our developer site, and it's literally copying and pasting a line of code. So it's relatively easy to implement. So I definitely recommend having a look at that. And then also the applications, if you want to try and build an application on Facebook. Also have a look at the ones that are already on there, because there's some great developers like Wildfire who develop applications for businesses to just buy off the shelf. They're not very customizable, but some of you can pay more for kind of more customizable applications, and so you can perhaps buy a ticketing application that can sit within your page, so that people can buy tickets directly from your page. So I definitely recommend having a look at the applications on Facebook and the developer site.
And that probably answers the question around the cupcake.
Yeah, I would imagine. I'm sorry, I don't know the exact application that they use, but I imagine it was something like a Wildfire one. I think they're quite small, so they probably wouldn't have had a bespoke one made up. But again, there are some great developers that are building off-the-shelf stuff that you can then you can purchase, and there are some details about that in the toolkit.
I guess one thing that's worth emphasising is our toolkit will probably be out of date in a year's time. And that the platform is changing all the time. We have this mantra that we're only 1% done. So yes, we very much encourage you, once you get the toolkit, make sure you hopefully find the time to have a look at it and use some of the features, but also keep an eye out for other things. And it's really important to like the small business marketing page. Have you remember the URL?
Yes, /Facebook Marketing UK.
Like that page, and that's where you can get regular updates on new features that are available for you to use on your page or in advertising, which it will hopefully make sure you can keep ahead of the pack in terms of using the latest features.
I think we've got time for one more question.
Martin.
Great. Well, I did lose my voice earlier this week, so maybe. Sadly, I had it back. As much a marketing question as a kind of Facebook operational question, but I'm just wondering, do you have advice for how to deal with kind of negative comments, trolling, stuff from competitors? Because particularly the people who are a bit nervous about entering this world, then that's the fear that they're going to get inadvertently trashed, or even just and how to turn negative comments into useful feedback, I guess.
Okay, I'll have a go.
One for Rosa, she's very good at it.
So I guess a few tips. Start by having some rules for your page. So it's entirely up to you what you want to allow on your page. If you want it to be open for people to swear on there, or you don't want that, you say that from the beginning. So set some rules for the page. Some great examples of house rules that other brands have had. British Airways, Kit Kat. British Monarchy has an excellent one which just says anything offensive will be removed, so they can decide what's offensive. If it's about Prince William balding, take it out. Secondly, we have some excellent moderation tools now on the page, which help you moderate things without having to spend too much time on the page. So you can create your own personal blacklist. So if there are particular words that we wouldn't necessarily know are swear words, you can add those in, or if it's a particularly relevant to your particular business. There's also the mine's gone blank. So you can set a profanity block list. So if you don't want any swearing on your page, you can set that, and we automatically block anything that appears that's on our profanity block list. So some poor person within Facebook has to compile that profanity block list, which I think means sitting on an Urban Dictionary all day. Yeah. Yeah. And then, so just in terms of negative comments, obviously Facebook is a place where people are having conversations, and some of those will be difficult and negative. But I think from how we've seen other brands using it, I think the important thing is to try and respond. Obviously, not get into great lengths of debate, but Marks and Spencer is an excellent example of how they use their page as a kind of customer-facing and customer feedback tool. So they often get quite angry customers complaining about missed deliveries, but they always respond. They don't always answer the question on there, but they respond on the page so other people can see that they're responding. And I think that looks like they're responsive and they're interested and they care about what their customers think. And then also the messages feature will also help you to be able to use it as a kind of customer interfacing tool, and that's not live to everyone yet, so if you go back and can't see it, it is being rolled out, but you should get that soon.
I just think one thing I'd add on that is, obviously our focus here is on small businesses, but we can't escape the fact that trolley has been on the news agenda a lot this week. The key thing we always say to people, there are tools on Facebook to deal with this. If you ever feel under threat on Facebook, report it. Block people so they can't reach you, and report it. If you don't report it, it's very, very hard or impossible for us to do anything about it. Particularly if it's something you think might be criminal, report it. Those things get escalated very quickly within Facebook. We can deal with law enforcement. We can get these people not only checked off Facebook, but dealt with by the police. So I know that's not the main purpose of the session, but I just thought with an opportunity for with this audience to just convey that. I'm afraid too often incidences get reported where somebody get into the media and somebody has not used the tools that are on the site to deal with this problem.
I think that's all we've got time for, but if anyone's got any questions offline, we will be around for a bit after.
Thank you very much.